Today is June 18th, Saturday. I've been working on the fireplace, the fire pit that I've been planning on building, and that's sort of finished. I have a couple of pieces that I do need to split, but other than that it's all leveled out and built up. I laid out the stepping stones that I'm gonna put around, and essentially what's gonna happen here is all the empty spots between the fire pit and the stepping stones, it's gonna have pebble stones all around. I'm just trying to use up these stepping stones that the previous owner left here, and the design is really just based around that, making sure that I use up as many as I can without much left over, plus making it so we can sit around the fire pit even if it's muddy. So that's the basic design, and I haven't just had the time to bring all the other stepping stones ahead. And then I will have to level them out. Right now they're just thrown in there, and I'm gonna lay down a weed barrier as well before I spread out the pebble stones. Other than that, not a whole lot done. Besides that, it took me all day, but only because I had to level a whole lot for the fire pit. It's around 7 o'clock in the evening, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick some kale and some onion and head home. Today is July 7th, Thursday. I'm out here at the lake cabin to work on the fire pit area. I've done about half of it so far. It's probably gonna take me another day or two. It's kind of hard to level the stepping stones, and it's so hot and humid today. I got a lot of bats nesting up here and pooping all over the place, of course. See if I can zoom in. They're up there, just hanging out. Of them, but yeah, they messed up the place big time. I just swept the porch and it's already dirty. Okay, the other thing I've done is harvested some of my garlic, the onions, and got some kale to take home. And that's pretty much all I did today. As I said, it's very humid and hot. It's hard to even move around. I'm gonna do a tour of my garden. It's so weedy, but things are growing. This flower garden definitely needs to be weeded. There are some flowers trying to grow, but it's hard to tell what's a flower and what's a weed. As far as the garden, I had replanted my green beans, but the climbing beans, but there's not a whole lot of success retaining them. Again, I had something come up from below and pull it. So all this section is missing. I'm going to replant again, not today. The broccolis are getting so tall, I'm not even sure if I take that cover off, but for now I'm going to leave it. I don't have any zucchinis here, but I'm going to have a whole bunch for sure. As I said, I harvested my onions. I have to dig through this in case I miss some of it. It was way overdue. It was starting to rot. This is where my garlics were. Not a whole lot of nice ones, but I harvested them anyway. I have so many from my home garden, so I don't really care. This bed somehow was not really good, so I need to make sure that this fall I'm gonna put a lot of compost in here. Somehow it's just not giving me a good yield. Sweet potato is running all over the place. The pumpkin is growing. There's another one, and I think I have some melons in here somewhere. This bed with the butternut squash, I'm not really happy with. The butternut squash that I have in my home garden are 10 times as big. So again, this bed is just very poor in nutrients, although I try to amend it with some organic fertilizer. It didn't really take, and we had some rain, so that's not it. The cucumbers are doing pretty well. I think the difference here is that I can't really come out here and water, so they only get water whenever it's raining, so that's why they're kind of small. The marigolds are nice, and here are the beets. A lot of weeds that I need to work on next time I'm here. The kale, I already harvested a lot of it, so this is what's left of it. This marigold here, it's just a giant. I'm gonna have to move it because it's taking up half of the bed. But these are the cauliflowers and some Swiss chard in here. The corn is nothing to write home about. I already took home some of the sunflowers. Here's another one just coming out. As far as my potatoes, I had something ripped some of my bags, so I had transplanted them to buckets. These are the dollar store buckets that I just drilled a hole on the bottom and used the same soil that I had in the bags, and they're doing good. I did this last time I was here, about a week ago. So I may actually end up with some potatoes, even though I already harvested some for new potatoes. Here's my kohlrabi. Now, from my last video, you can see that kohlrabi was eaten up by slugs and whatnot, but they grew back. So I'm glad I didn't pull them, because they basically just grew new leaves, and they're fine. Some is eating it, that's for sure. Okay, so parsnips are pretty good, although I think something is again pulling them in and eating them underground. Gopher something. Same for the carrots. I mean, this side of it is just pretty much gone. The middle is good, so they kind of just come in on somehow on the side. Ate one of the kohlrabis too. Oh well, you have to share. Okay, so lots of weeds as far as outside of the beds as well, that I need to, next time I'm here, take care of that. I'll just run the weed whacker and get rid of that. It's amazing how the weeds grow better than what I'm trying to grow. So that's the end of it. The wild grapes that I've been monitoring are growing, although I cut down this tree and a lot of the wild grapes were destroyed with that process, but there's still a bunch left. This whole bush has wild grapes over it, and I think that's what they are. We're gonna try them. Hopefully we won't die. And that's the end of my tour of the garden. today on July 7th. Here's my onion harvest and my kale and the sunflowers. And I got some garlic on the bottom of that. Also, I have harvested some of the parsnip seeds from last year. I need to just dry this a little more, and I'm gonna have hundreds of seeds for next year. Time to go home.